Welcome to episode 5 of our Azamara Quest Australian Adventure. In this episode there's more sea day entertainment as we make our way towards Fremantle near Perth. And Carole makes a shocking admission.
Right then, so our second sea day.
Sea day number 2, the return.
Is it second sea? Do you know we've lost track of the days? We don't know what day it is, what date it is. Anyway, sea day. We know when we're at sea because we can see no land. So that's always helpful, isn't it?
Oh, that's a good way of working it out, isn't it?
Anyway, so for our sea day we thought we've got quite a bit of onboard credit. So we thought, let's go and suss out the spa and see if they do sort of half-day passes or day passes and see what facilities there are on the Azamara Quest. So we're off to the spa. Now, the spa on Azamara Quest, you can book a day pass for $35 per person, or you can book a week pass, can't you, which works out at $160. But we thought, let's go there for one session and see what it's like.
I gotta be honest, one thing I will say is they are a bit hard sell when you're at the reception and they're saying, oh yeah, but if you book it for so it's better value. And Carole says, yeah, but what if we only want to go once?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but it's still better value. Well, it's not, is it? Because $35 for one visit or $160 for one visit isn't better value for money. So
yes.
So let's try it first and then we'll decide how long we want to book
exactly.
for. Thank you, lady.
We've also got a price list of spa treatments, which we're going to put a whole post together on about that. Yeah. So we'll share more of that when we've had a good look at it and decide if we're going to have a treatment or not. So we went down there to enjoy their facilities, and it's, as you imagine on a small ship, there's only a very small area right at the front of the ship, isn't it? And there's an area called the sanctum, which we'll show you here, which is just like a pool deck, but a private pool deck where you can just chill out on lovely comfortable beds, which are the same beds as you would get on the deck, aren't they?
Well, there is that one the four poster.
Yes, which luckily nobody was on, so we jumped on there and had a lovely snooze, didn't we?
We did. That's what you pay your money for. You pay $70 to sleep in a different area of the ship.
Yes. They've also got a whirlpool. It's not what you call a reflex. What's it not? That's a pool with loads of jets.
I know exactly what she means, but I'm just going to see how long she suffers for.
What's
you mean a hydrotherapy pool?
That's the one. Yes. But it's literally just a whirlpool, which is very nice, quite a big size, and it's got a bit in the shade as well. So actually, it was quite nice to spend a couple of hours up there. They've got some showers, obviously, up there as well, and they've also got a steam room in the ladies. I asked Paul to have a look in the men's what they got, and he says, "Oh, I don't know. I forgot to look."
I didn't forget to look. There was definitely a door in there, but there was a man in there. There was a man in there changing, and he was 158 years of age, and he didn't have any clothes on, and I couldn't get out of there fast enough.
So, was it worth $35? I think if you pool-wise, if you're looking for a pool to have your back pummeled and stuff, no. But if you want a quiet area of just total peace, looking over the bay of the ship, then yes. Yeah. So,
but I will say it was a quiet area looking over the front of the ship because we were at sea and it was like a force 9 gale out there.
It was very windy. It was windy, but we still managed to have a good doze.
Well, one of us did.
You did too. Anyway, then Paul went off to go and do the quiz, didn't you? I was really happy there, just chilling. So Paul went off to the living room to do the quiz. You met your mates, didn't you?
Met me mates. The first quiz, they have I don't know whether they did a similar sort of thing. It was like Oceania the day before, and it was all things nautical today. Between us, because I joined forces with 4 Australians, I think we got about 50s. Oh. And then it was the pop quiz, and it was today's subject was love songs. And of course, because everybody knows, that I'm Mr. Love. I can't build it up anymore. We were. And
yeah.
20 out of 20. But I must say that out of those 20 answers, the 4 Australians on my team didn't give me any of those.
That was your specific subject again, wasn't it, boy? Yes. So that's good.
So that means I've now got I won a world cruise, the first one.
You got some more stamps for your page, haven't you, Paulie?
I got £1 million for that.
No. I stayed at the front, but I started to feel a little bit odd because there's a lot of movement on the ship, and the captain said it's going to be like this till Perth. And after a while being at the front and after a doze, I thought, oh, I feel I need to go back to the cabin just for a bit of a lie down. It's really bizarre to explain, but I just felt I just don't feel quite right. So I messaged Paulie and just said, look, if you're going past guest relations, just pick up some seasickness tablets just so I can take one. If you're coming back to the cabin, I'm going to go back and just get showered, wash my hair, etc. So I did that, and that was quite difficult in the shower because it's not the biggest space, and we were moving quite a lot. So by about 7ish I was feeling a bit more sprightly, so we decided it was Thai night, wasn't it, at the buffet?
Yes, it was.
So we decided, look, it's our favourite type of food, let's go up there and have a gander.
But they didn't have a gander.
No, they didn't.
That's a goose.
I know it's a goose. So anyway, a good array selection of foods. As you see from this food order selection, that you took quite a few photos, didn't you?
I took loads of photos, but I have to say, for the first time on this cruise, I was very disappointed. I don't know why, but massaman is my favourite Thai dish, probably. And they did a pork massaman, and
it was more like a yellow curry.
It tasted nothing like a massaman. No peanuts, not creamy enough, no spice. I had a chicken and cashew nut, which was better, to be fair. Just, I found it all this is when they say like different things to different people. Me and Carole sat there and we were talking about how bland it tasted.
I think.
And then on the table next to us, there was a couple, and they said, "Oh, this is really nice, isn't it?" What I like about it is it hasn't got any spice in it, and that was exactly what we didn't like about it.
I found with my dishes, the flavours were there, but the spice wasn't there, and we love spicy food, so I think it just wasn't spicy enough.
But the massaman didn't even have the massaman flavour.
No, it didn't.
Wasn't nothing like massaman.
But like you say, the chicken and cashew.
Cashew was alright.
And I had some beef skewers, which were delicious, and some rice, and there was some satay sauce and sweet chili sauce, and that was lovely. So yeah, I think for us it just wasn't spicy enough.
But I have to say, in I don't know how many visits, that's the first time I've left there feeling disappointed.
The food's been excellent. Fed and watered, we then headed off to the cabaret lounge, didn't we? I couldn't remember the lounge then. So the show tonight was Wonderlust, and it was with 6 members of the entertainment team singing and dancing, and it was really, really good, wasn't it? I thoroughly enjoyed it. Yeah. Basically told a story of the wonderfulness about travel, didn't it? And the excitement and travelling all around the world.
I think it's called Wanderlust, isn't it? It's where you lust to wander.
But anyway, it was really enjoyable.
When you love travelling like we do.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, we got front row seats just on the corner by the stage. It's quite a good view, isn't it? I know you don't get a front-on view, but I don't know what it is. Every time the theatre's closed, you can't get in the cabaret lounge to have a drink sort of an hour before. You have to go to either the den or one of the other areas on the ship, and then right on at 9 o'clock, the doors open, and we always think, oh, we're only in the den, we'll walk straight through. But as soon as you walk in, it's like I don't know, they've all been here. The door's been early and they've all hidden in there.
There's less than 400 people on this ship.
Yes.
And then when you go to the cabaret lounge at night, even though the doors have only just opened, when you walk in, there's 700 people in there.
It seems like that.
I don't know how that works really. But yeah,
maybe we'll have to stand if there's a show that we think we want to get front row seats. We'll stand at the door at 8:30.
We'll hide in there. They have a thing during the day in there, don't they? So we'll just hide in there during the day.
But anyway, as we've mentioned before, the entertainment we've enjoyed on the ship so far has been great. So we got up this morning and I thought Paul had set the alarm for 8:30, but as it was, he didn't. But luckily I woke up at 9 because at 10 o'clock the captain and the hotel manager were doing a sort of Q&A session. So we got freshened up and sorted and headed our way there. On the way, we went past the Mosaic Cafe, which is a lovely little cafe just above reception, isn't it? Right at the centre of the ship, that does very light breakfast, sort of croissants and little bits and bobs.
Yeah, pastries and stuff like that,
Yeah, takeaway coffee. So I grabbed 2 cappuccinos and we headed to the cabaret lounge, where we had a very informative chat with the captain. We're still swaying a little bit, and he sort of poo-pooed it, didn't he, really? But we can really feel it. But we're getting up to sort of 10-foot waves. He was saying was like the swell.
Yeah.
And as it's a small ship, we have felt the movement a lot on this the last day or so.
Yeah, I think being perfectly blunt, this is the most movement we've ever felt on a cruise.
Yeah.
Easily.
And I've just been back to reception to get more seasickness tablets. I've not been sick or felt very sick. I just feel a bit odd still. So I've taken another one of them. So hopefully I'll be able to enjoy the evening and that later on.
Well, ironically, on the last cruise we did, which my brother and my father came on, my brother's like, oh my God, I can't believe how much movement there is on the ship. And we're like, oh, because there was hardly any movement at all. If he'd have been on air, I think he'd have just spent his whole tongue curled up in the bathroom, wouldn't he?
But it is what it is. We knew, sailing this part of the world and having quite a few sea days on our first leg. That's why we booked our midship cabin. But obviously we've been moved right to the aft now because of the flooding issue. If you missed that, just see our previous episodes. Back to Captain. He came up with some very good facts. Lots of questions for him. It costs $3,000 per hour of fuel, doesn't it, for this cruise ship?
When it's up to full speed, which between Bali and to get to
Perth on time,
he had to be pretty much flat out the whole time. He did throttle back last night for the show, because I don't think there's any way they could have done the show with the movement of the ship.
Well, and they don't want the dancers getting injured if they're jumping
so he throttled back for an hour for that, but we're back up to full speed ahead.
He was giving us a history, which we knew this history, but just for you guys, a little bit about Azamara. Azamara used to belong to Royal Caribbean, but they're now owned by a company called Sycamore, who purchased the ships for $201 million.
I find it just absolutely bonkers that they said they purchased 4 cruise ships for $201 million. And then when you consider that Man City paid £100 million, which is about $120 million for Jack Grealish, who's a decent footballer, so you can have nearly 2 Jack Grealishes or 4 cruise ships.
Yeah, true.
So it's just I thought absolutely bonkers how cheap I felt it was.
Wow.
And plus when they purchased the ships, all the ships were still laid up because of COVID. So straight away they had all the dry dock fees to pay, and the captain has said that when into 2023 is when they'll start making money again. But there is the company Sycamore, they seem to have
they're buying lots of other businesses, aren't they, and particularly in Canada.
Yeah, so they got quite a bit of dollar about them, and they're quite confident that they're going to push the company forward and in the right direction.
They are. Yeah. So that was really interesting, wasn't it? It was it gave the history of Azamara, these ships they started as Renaissance ships, and then were leased out and then been taken out of Azamara, and now have that distinctive navy blue hull,
which the captain was responsible for, because all the ships were originally white, and we didn't know this, but there's certain ports in the world, especially around Brazil, that they don't want you painting anything or using rust remover while the ships are in dock. So it meant that like 2, 3, 4 weeks at a time they couldn't do any maintenance to the outside of the ships. And with a white ship and with the red rust that you get on a ship of this age, it was starting to look quite untidy. So the captain was taking photos and sending them to head office, and then he said, why don't we paint the ships? And he went at lengths to point out they're not black, they're dark blue.
So today was the second brunch that we've experienced on Azamara Quest, and it's basically held in the Discoveries restaurant, and all the officers and crew take turns on serving you and having a chat, which is brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. The hotel manager was doing his pasta thing as always, and having some banter. Great layout. Well, as you can see here, of fantastic food. We weren't very hungry, were we? So we just had I had a little pot of yogurt and berries and stuff, and you just had a donut.
I had a very low calorie donut.
Yes, you did. So, but again, the food is just absolutely fabulous, isn't it?
I mean, from roast beef to sushi to eggs and chips and pastries,
the biggest prawns,
great big prawns, you name it, they got it in there. But it was just like almost like it was sort of like a food overload, and I don't know whether that affected my my decision, but I don't think I'm very hungry, but I did have about 6 cups of tea.
Yes, breakfast, English breakfast tea.
And then later today I'm going for the hat trick of wins in the quiz. I'm 2 for 2, as the Americans say, on pop quizzes. So, can I win the hat trick?
And I've booked a fire and ice pedicure and manicure.
Yeah. Which I think they just set for your hands and feet.
Well, maybe I'll let you know. But for now, let's look at the view we've got. The sun's stayed out, the weather's really hot, so come and have a look. Let's have a look out here. So I don't know if you can see the movement, but yeah, so it's our lovely wet view. And Australia somewhere over there. But it's a good spot, isn't it, Paulie?
It's lovely.
Yeah.
And it's, you're very sheltered from the wind here,
Yeah.
but you still get obviously the lovely warmth of the sun.
Yeah, but also a bit of shade for your head.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we've enjoyed having our views, even though it has been a little bit bumpy. Right then.
Oh, right then. Oh, she took me
Yes.
by surprise then, I must say, when I found out yesterday.
Anyway, I'm back from the spa and I've had a manicure and a pedicure. You can't see my feet, which was very good.
But despite the fact that you can't see her feet, she still kicked her feet out in front
I
of her.
did. I had a fire and ice pedicure. That was $159. Now that sounds expensive, I know, but actually the receipt here, I had 15% off because we're the type of cabin that we're in, a balcony plus. However, I had 15% off, and then by the time they put the service charge on, it was still $159. But anyway, I had a lovely girl called Karen, which is spelled Kharen, and she's done a fab job on my nails. I've had some lovely massages, and I feel very good. While I've been doing that, Paulie's been sat in the living room doing his quizzes with his new friends.
Well, yeah, lots of new friends. Well, as you know, I may have mentioned, they do 3 quizzes every afternoon, and for 2 quizzes running, I've won the music quiz. So
I think they're getting sick of hearing about that now.
So the 3 quizzes today: World Cup football.
Yes.
I won that. Woo! Pub quiz. Boo! I didn't win that. Music quiz, which I had no expectations whatsoever, and it was all Disney themed tunes, and you had to guess what film they came from. Won that as well. Boo!
Yeah, you got a nice crowd, haven't you? Been doing quizzes with, well, I've been just pampering. So 4 quiz wins in the last 3 days. She's got more stamps today, haven't you, Paulie?
Oh, where's my phone? I've got to show you my stamps. Where is it? Oh, I'm so excited. I'm still here. Hello.
Anyway, while he's doing that, I want to just touch upon onboard credit, because we had onboard credit when we are on, obviously, our cruise. And if you go to reception, you'll get a printout so you can work out exactly what credit you got, because if you don't use it, you lose it, unless it's a refundable credit, which most onboard credits aren't. But you can always go to reception, get a printout, because on your telly it doesn't tell you this, and it'll tell you whether it's refundable or not. So we worked out that with my pedicure, manicure, and what we've had so far with going to the Sanctum, and what else have we bought?
Excursion. We did excursion today.
Yeah, we've just booked another excursion, and with the postcards that we've sent to our patrons, we had $88 left. So we've just been to the shop, and can you notice anything new that Paulie's gone on? Yes. So there was a t-shirt there for $90.
$90.
Oh, it's mad really, but if we hadn't spent it, we'd have lost it.
Yes.
And also, like Paul just said, because we get to Fremantle for Perth, we thought, and we don't get there till like 1:30 in the afternoon, we thought, why don't we do an excursion of like a panorama type excursion? So we've got that on our onboard credit as well, and we thought that would give us a good introduction to Fremantle and Perth. So yeah, so we went $2 over our onboard credit.
Yeah, that's all right. Anyway, back to the quizzing. Strangely, instead of giving you like a pen or a key ring at the end of every quiz, you've got like it's called a passport. It's called a prize passport, and they put stamps.
Yes.
On your passport for taking part, and if you win,
yes,
you get extra stamps. Now, look at this, like I've only got 2 stamps left.
Yes.
And I asked what happens when I fill my passport, and apparently I'm then the captain of the ship.
I didn't think you quite.
So I'm looking forward to that. So
Oh.
so I should be driving tomorrow.
Yes. So it's been a lovely day at sea. It's still been a little bit up and down, so I've just taken some more meclizine, but also our washing's all come back, look. So that's good too. So our free bag of laundry
I'll tell you
was
something,
done within 24 hours.
How riveting are our cruise vlogs.
I know.
You'll never guess what, our washings come back.
Well, it's all
And
important stuff.
And I bought a shirt.
That could have cost us $40, but we haven't spent. We've spent $2 since we've been on here. That's it. So that's brilliant, I think.
Yes, it's not bad.
Yes. Well, the first thing we did was we went to pop back to guest relations just to find out if we had any news on the cabin for our next leg, because we've got a couple of days now left on this first cruise.
And guess what?
No
there's
news.
no news.
No news. So we'll keep you updated with that. But we did pick our passports back up, which we'd forgotten because we had to give those in for Bali. And we've got all our instructions now for when we reach Australia. So not long now. Woo! I know, it's very exciting. So to start our evening, we head straight to the Sunset Bar, which is one of our favourite spots,
Yeah,
isn't it?
nice, yeah.
It's got how many tables? You counted them.
I did. There's 19 tables.
Yes.
And there's 4 seats at each table.
Yeah.
But if you want just to have for 2,
It's not a problem.
It's not a problem
And
at
if you
all.
want to join tables together, it's
Yeah,
not a
it's not a
problem.
problem.
It's a fantastic spot, just looking over the aft of the ship. Great service, and just outside of the Windows Cafe. So the reason we headed there was, one, obviously because we wanted to watch the sunset, because we now get some sunshine. Woo!
Yes.
And some fantastic sunsets heading down to Western Australia. So we sat there, had a couple of drinks, and caught up. The ship's so sociable, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Do you know, this is one of the friendliest ships we've ever been on. I don't know, because it's full of Australians that everyone just speaks to each
Yeah,
other.
it's really nice.
It's been such a pleasure. And obviously there was Indian buffet night, wasn't it, as well? So that was an added bonus.
Thai food the night before we felt was a little bit underspiced.
Yes.
And maybe they were trying to, cater for everybody. But I don't care about everybody, I want spicy.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Indian buffet, excellent.
Fantastic.
And I have to say, I know the sounds like, oh my god, that's like, what a weird thing to say. They had poppadoms, and without a shadow of a doubt,
Yeah.
it's the best poppadom I've ever had in my life. And you think, well, how can that be different to any other poppadom? But
Yeah.
it just seemed
No,
to
I
be.
agree.
They were just spectacular.
Every food, well, there was all sorts there, as you'll see in these pictures, and the food was just flavoursome and fantastic, wasn't it?
It was
So
delicious.
yeah, great spot to have our dinner, al fresco, and a great dinner. And we sat there and watched the sun go down, chatting to some more people that we hadn't
Yeah.
met before, wasn't it? So then, after our lovely dinner, we headed to the Den, which seems to be our go-to spot, doesn't it? For pre-dinner drinks. And again, the service there, as soon as they know us so well now.
Pre-show,
What did I say?
pre-dinner.
Oh yes, we'd already had dinner. Yeah, pre-show. So we sat there and had a nice little drink,
We did.
and then we headed off to the show. And tonight it was called, it was with David Bradshaw, who's the cruise director and the entertainment team, and it was a tribute to, Paul will remember better than
The
me.
writers and composers, Rodgers and Hart. And it was I must admit, Rodgers and Hart. Rodgers then went on to work with Hammerstein, and they did a lot more stuff like Sound of Music,
Yeah.
and more things that we would be aware of. But this was all about Rodgers and Hart, so this was before Rodgers and Hammerstein, and there was a few songs on there that we knew. In my humble opinion, for what it's worth, Carole will tell you what she feels. David's not a strong singer by any stretch of the imagination, but what he does is he puts a song across well.
Yeah, he does.
And it wasn't just sing a song, sing a song, sing a song. There was loads and loads of information.
Yeah.
So it was like a story all about Rodgers and Hart, and their age difference, and one was a raging alcoholic, which
Yeah.
eventually killed him in the end. And I found it absolutely fascinating. And then interspersed with that, the show team came on and sang some songs on their own, and sang some songs with David, and I thought it was just
I thought it was good.
I thought it was a real entertaining and informative. Sorry, I'm looking out the window because what's out there?
It's either a boat or a whale, but we'll let you know.
Like,
But I agree with Paul. I didn't know a lot of the songs. I thought, oh, but the way that David put the show over with, it was literally a story that led into song each time, wasn't it? And it was really interesting and very enjoyable.
And backed as well by the Azamara Quest Orchestra, who were absolutely fantastic as well. Every night they put in a performance, and they're brilliant. It's just
the whole team are very talented, aren't they? Teams. We were thinking there weren't going to be very much or hardly any entertainment on Azamara, and every night we've had something different, haven't we? Yeah. So that was brilliant. So that was the show in the cabaret lounge, and then after the show we headed back to the den. The ship was still moving, and I didn't want to go up to the living room because the living room is right at the front, and I'm struggling with going up there actually, aren't I? For the first time, as I mentioned, I've had to take some meclizine, which has actually kept me right, but I will be glad, I must admit, we've had 3 days at sea, and I will be glad to get my feet back on the ground, and I've never had that issue before on a cruise ship, have I? So but anyway, back to the den, which is a lovely lounge with fabulous service from Benjamin and Ruby and another gentleman that I keep looking at his name badge and I can't retain his name, but he's there all the time, isn't he? So
and he knows our drinks.
He does, and he's fabulous. We must get his must remember his name. Why can't we remember?
I can't remember. I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe we've had too many drinks by then.
Probably.
He did last night.
I had a gin frenzy last night.
He did.
It's not big and it's not clever, kids. I'm telling you now. But
no,
I drank far too much.
Yes, you did.
But because I drank far too much, I got up and sang again.
He did. He got up and sang with Tosie on the keys, which went down well. Yeah. We're getting to know a few little singers that get up. Some good, some average. But it's just a very easy atmosphere, isn't it? Yeah, everyone's just love it. And we were watching Ruby, wasn't it? They've got these ice, like an ice print. Not an ice printing. They don't print ice. Stamp. That's what it is.
Remember what she said just now. Them tablets have kept her right. But to be fair, this is normal Carole. What it was, it's like a metal, like a stamp that you would put on a letter.
Yes.
That you would frank a letter with.
Exactly.
But on the bottom of the franking thing, it's got Azamara.
Yeah.
And they've got blocks of ice
that are bigger cubes,
and they just hold this thing on the top. They don't heat it up or anything.
No,
they just hold it on the top, and then it carves Azamara.
It brands the ice.
It brands. It's a brander.
It's a brander. That's what it is. So we just have lots of banter with the staff, haven't we? It's just been fun, real good fun, hasn't it? And then Paul said, "Oh, the football's on," and I'd forgotten all about the football. It's the World Cup final, Argentina against France. And fair play to Azamara. If you're into sport, you can watch it on your TV in your room, and you can watch. They put it on in the cabaret lounge last night, and provided obviously drinks and popcorn. Paulie was quite squiffy, weren't you? And I said, "Come on, mate, let's go to bed and watch it in the bedroom because I think you'd had enough."
We watched the first half in there, and then we came to bed and watched the second half. I have to say, I'm not going to bore you with the details, but one of the best finals, one of the best World Cup finals in living memory. And yes, it was just, but the trouble is because it was into extra time and penalties, so Carole was asleep so the second half started. I was up till 3:30.
Yeah.
So I'm a bit sleepy Peterson now.
But I've dragged him out of bed because today we arrive in Perth. Woo! So we've got about another 3 hours till we dock. We're off on a panorama tour of Perth, which is going to last 4 hours, just so we can get our bearings. We've got lots of great plans. We've got some of our followers have been in touch and want to meet up with us and show off their city. So it's going to be really amazing couple of days. So we'll show you later how we get on.
Yes.
Join us in episode 6 where we finally set foot on Australian soil and we show you what Fremantle and Perth has to offer.